What do you say about privatization?
I think we're practically worse. One of the things that we always need to tell ourselves, development is difficult. There's a country, I give an example. Development is not only about intent to do what is right. You also must do the right thing. That is not enough to want to will it. Privatization is right, but the details of the policy and the way we went about implementing it was wrong. I will keep saying this. First of all, most of the counterparties that the Jonathan administration dashed out Nigeria's power assets to, they lack capacity. They didn't come to the table with sufficient capital or sufficient skills. And that's not something that you can gloss over. The second is that the policy itself, the policy that separated generation from transmission and distribution, it created so many bottlenecks that even if there was somebody who was competent within that chain, that person's performance was too dependent on others. So really,
that was guaranteed to fail.
That guaranteed success. You know what I think? What we need to do? We need to go back to the drawing board and actually tear that privatization. That privatization won't get us anywhere. A lot of these power companies are in significant default on loans to banks. Wow. They are owing Nigerian banks about 1 trillion naira.
Wow.
So the way to get them is not for us to go in breach of the agreement we signed.
Oh, okay.
Just call CBN. CBN should call the banks they owe and say these guys have been defaulting on their loans since 2013. We have been looking the other way because it is critical. We are not looking the other way. Call in the loans. Now, once the banks are now in custody of these companies because of the loan default, the government will now work with the banks to redesign a program of how the banks will give up these companies to new investors. Now, these new investors should not be just anybody. And with this, under this new framework, don't separate generation
from distribution,
from transmission. Let's have an international bid where Siemens and GE, we will say to Siemens, we will say to GE, whoever wins this bid, within 5 years, we want 10,000 megawatts. We don't care whether you are producing it. We are saying you are responsible for getting 10,000 megawatts to the end user.
Oh, both generation and distribution.
We don't tell a story. Whether you call it, that is, you are responsible for generation, for transmission, and for distribution. And then 5 years after that, we want you to double it to 20,000 megawatts. And 5 years after that, we want you to take it to 35,000 megawatts. And now you know what? We will go to an international bank, such as it may be an international commercial bank or an international development bank like what. They will give a bank guarantee that whatever amount of power you deliver to the end user, we guarantee that you will be paid every day. That will be done. So that's, for me, if it was dependent on me, this is what I will do. I won't allow anybody who government signed a contract with in 2013 to say when you take this contract, you are violating, and you will be.
Yeah.
And that in Nigeria, there is no sanctity of contract. That when you buy an asset in Nigeria, no, I won't do that.
Okay.
I will just say you are owing the banks 1 trillion. 1 trillion is a lot of money that could do other things in the economy.
Absolutely.
You've taken the money, you are not paying it. That is what we'll do. That's what I think we need to do with power.